Hello, welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to practice with a confusing expression, so let's get started. Today we're learning the expression, get going. A member of our channel left a question about this expression. She wanted us to explain it, so that's what we're going to do today. Remember, you can become a member too. Just click the join button underneath the video. So let's talk about this expression, get going. If you look in the dictionary, it means to start a process. And that's true. Sometimes we use the expression like that. For example, she's waited long enough. She needs to get going on the project. In this example, it means she needs to start the process. She needs to start the activity. But it's more commonly used to mean the word leave in a nice and polite way. The idea is you need to leave because you have another obligation. Not because you want to leave, you want to stay. But you have to leave, unfortunately, because you have something else that you need to do. That's the idea, and that's why it's more polite. Example, you're at a party and you need to leave. You don't want to leave, you want to stay, but you have to, unfortunately, so you use this expression. You can use verbs like I need to or I have to. Example, I'm sorry, but I have to get going. I don't want to be late for something else, whatever it is. I'm sorry, I need to get going. Example, my children are waiting for me. You have some other obligation that's making you leave. You're not leaving because you want to, you're leaving because you have to. So again, you can use the verbs I have to get going, or need, I need to get going. It just means that you need to leave, but it's a little more polite. Let's hear some examples of have to get going and need to get going.
We need to get going.
We have to get going.
We have to get going, Christy.
Yeah. I really have to get going.
All right, gentlemen. Sorry, but we need to get going if we're going to make it to the press conference.
Well, then I guess you need to get going.
Well, actually have to get going, but see you soon, yeah?
Yeah.
I need to get going.
Well, I have to get going, but maybe we can chat some more over coffee sometime?
Yeah.
We have to get going, but we...
Oh.
I have to get going, but
Example, she's late for work. She needs to get going. She has to get going because she's late for work. Let's practice. Does she need to get going? That's right, she needs to get going. Why does she need to get going? Is she late for work? That's right, she needs to get going because she's late for work. Let's practice with have to and has to. Example, she has to get going. She's late for work. When I ask the question, I say, does she have to get going? Remember, with does, use the simple action have. Does she have to get going? That's right, she has to get going. Why does she have to get going? That's right, she has to get going because she's late for work. Now let's talk about this one. I gotta get going. I gotta get going is a reduction of this. I have got to get going. It's the same idea. It's an obligation, just like I have to or I need to. I have got to get going. We make the contraction, I have, together, I've got to get going. Got to makes the reduction gotta. Use the fast D sound, gotta. The first vowel is the open ah sound like hot and stop, gotta. And the second vowel is a short like cup and up, gotta. The stress is on the first syllable, gotta. So you can say, I've got to get going. I've got to get going. And you can pronounce the v sound for the contraction, I've. Together, I've got to get going. But in America, it's more common not to pronounce the v sound in I've and just say, I gotta. Well, technically you can say that's wrong. And technically you're right, it is wrong. But most Americans talk like this. This is American English after all. So, I gotta get going. I gotta get going. It means I have to leave because I have something else I have to do. Sorry. So, I gotta get going, or we gotta get going. It should be we've got to get going. With a contraction, we have, together, we've got to get going. But again, Americans usually say it without the v sound, and you just hear we. We got to get going. Sorry. We'll see you next time. Let's hear some examples of I got to get going, and we got to get going, and I've got to get going. Now, in all these examples you're going to hear, there's only one where they pronounce the v sound. Listen and see if you can identify it, because there's only one. Like I said, it's more common in America not to make the v sound. You'll hear I got to get going and we got to get going. Let's listen.
I gotta get going now, so goodbye. And thank you.
I gotta get going now.
I try to be straight.
Come on, you guys, we gotta get going.
We gotta get going if I'm gonna hit those 3 home runs.
I gotta get going now.
Okay, well, let me get to the mirror. I've gotta get going.
I actually gotta get going.
We gotta get going. Have a good time, everybody.
I gotta get going.
Right, okay, we gotta get going.
Okay.
Have a good
I gotta get going.
We gotta get going, okay? We're at 4.
We gotta get going, okay?
I gotta get going.
Did you hear it? Great. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to become a member, click the join button. And we'll see you next time.